you all know that my name is Nika, and that I'm only 19 years old, not only, and my civil life was not really that much similar to other people life in civil world, because it was a little bit of chaos, a little bit of mess, a lot of problems, and a lot of ambitions, a lot of fails and expectations. For example, I didn't have any specific plan, and I didn't even choose one profession. So if we take to my studies, I've studied at the medical school, then I didn't graduate for the sake of work, and then I found that I would like to study police at the police academy. So I now have two studies, medical because I want to graduate finally, and second year of police academy. And before the war started, I was planning to voluntarily work with police because I'm interested in that area and in social activities. But it didn't happen because I joined Army Medical before, and I think this is one of the most precious decisions of my life to join Hospitallers, because in a way it split my life too, before and after. And so far I never regret it, even though I have not everything is smooth everywhere.
Tell me though, like, because it's very interesting to me, because you were homeschooled, so in the traditional sense you finished your schooling at, correct me if I'm wrong, at 14 years old, yes? And then it was to you to choose medicine, or
yeah, I didn't attend school. I was home taught by my mother and my elder siblings, but all the initiative was coming out from my mother. She is a high qualified, intelligent person, teacher of math and physics, and her belief was always that children are way more capable than the modern society makes them to be. And I only attended school twice, one exam and the final exam. So yeah, and I was also studying 2 years ahead because I have an elder sister, and we were always studying one form with her.
what did you do right before the war? Like, I know you have your family in Sweden, but you also work in Slovakia, yes?
Yeah, like I have a very big family, and I have relatives in a lot of places of the world. But it happened that I was right before the war. I have got a planned vacation for 1 week that me and my two sisters were planning like half a year in advance in order to have it together. And we had a 1 week vacation on Carpathians mountains that was over on 24th February. And when everything started with the war, and like yesterday you were still going to mountains to ski, and today you already have concrete barricades on the road so that all the tourists that paid for their hotels and for their vacation and rest cannot reach in, because people were not it was very hard for them to understand that it's all over, it's a war, and you will never have the same vacation as you planned and as you paid for. So my sisters with me, they didn't go back to Kyiv from West Ukraine, but they came to Slovakia because my elder sister was planning and wanting to work and study there. I wasn't, but as a younger one, I still didn't know what I decide and what I want myself, and it was a decision made of willingness to stay together and to help in hard times when I didn't know what to expect and what to do.
And what day did you come back to Ukraine? Like, because I know you volunteered with Andre, you've translated on medical courses, What day did you come back, and how did that all play out?
Talking about that, I have spent in Slovakia 1 month and a half, and during all that time I was working remotely for my IT company that I worked 1 year for in Ukraine. And it happened that all the department of my colleagues, they could not work at that time at the beginning of the war because they were massively shelled and they only could hide in cellars and try to evacuate their families. So for a while I was one of the whole department abroad that could work for the whole department. But soon after we had some Russian clients, and they started to behave so boldly rude and arrogant that I could not stand it. And there were 2 factors. My colleagues were back to work in a month, and I could no more stand Russian abuse from customers. So I raised up with
Different life.
He's not commander. With chief officer of the company, the question that we are no longer working with Russians. And then when it was solved and our CEO decided that we are rejecting Russian customers, even though it was a hard decision from business point of view, I decided that perhaps it's a sign that my mission in this company is perhaps over and I can move on with my life. And moving on with my life was meaning going back to Ukraine and try to see what God can offer me to do, because I was going back to Ukraine with knowing nothing, and I didn't know where I will be and what I'll be doing. So I entered the country and came first to Lviv, but my soul soon after realized that Lviv is not my place to work, even though the railway officer was offering me to stay with him and to work as humanitarian aid officer. And I went all the way to Kyiv, and in Kyiv it was literally like I was showing up in governmental facilities like fire brigade, ambulance station, army, police, and asking same question: hey, I'm free hands, I'm willing to do whatever you need, I'm not scared to die, what do you need? And that was the way how I enlisted to be a firefighter, volunteer firefighter. But unfortunately to say, due to Ukrainian bureaucracy, there was no much to do as a volunteer firefighter, and I joined a volunteer group that was going to Kyiv area, Irpin, Bucha, Hostomel, Makarov, and a lot of other villages.
That's where you met Andre, right?
Yes, but it was after. It was after I started working with civilian houses, with dismantling rubbles and helping with cleaning destroyed houses, kindergartens, schools, and everything after Russian being there. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say that Ukrainians are innocent and good and great and they treated their children good. Unfortunately, it's not so. But what I have seen was really shocking. Like, for example, there were Russian parade uniform in kindergarten, and also like pills and packages from pills for sexual potential increasing for Russian production. And again, of course, we have so much abuse in Ukraine, and unfortunately, even intelligent people sometimes would propagate you very suspicious philosophy, but it doesn't justify the crime itself. And I worked basically with cleaning debris and providing other volunteers possibility to repair destroyed houses when people had nowhere to go. For example, to to repair broken windows, broken roofs, etc. And after that, I went a little bit burned out because people there were either dead or they already left, because I went to the area with mine workers after Russians were already left, already gone. So militaries and fire brigades were supposed to take away all the bodies before volunteers go, but we were one of the first volunteers, and of course there were bodies left, of course. Sometimes there were like human spine or I don't know, whatever part of the body, so you never even know what the person was. And it was quite hard for me, because I didn't feel all the meaning of what I do. Like, it was of course meaningful, but when you see the person already dead and you're cleaning their house, just assuming that his children will probably come and want to live there, or his brother or his mother, it is a little bit different than when you see a person bleeding and applying a tourniquet and bringing it to him to the hospital. So when I couldn't do that anymore, I went to the army, because the army needed volunteers and hands to dig trenches around Kyiv. I don't know if it's okay to be sad, but when the Russians already left Kyiv area, we still didn't have lines of defense around Kyiv. And the command had it said on paper that there are 3 of them. There were none at some places, and since the command had papers that everything is done and Russia is already away from the area, they put more than half of a unit to the other frontline areas where Russia was still insulting. So in Kyiv area there were left little rest of the unit, who was supposed to somehow quickly dig lines around Kyiv in order to make it be proper. And that is when the army was inviting local volunteers who wanted to do that, and often it was about men who wanted to join the army, but they got rejected for some reason, and they would come every day to this trenches line to dig them, and they were still working. Like, I quit the work, but they were still working, and that happened that nobody could go every day. They would go, for example, one Sunday, and then you never see them again, and the next day, on Monday, you have completely another group of volunteers. But it was my main occupation for that time, so I would go every day, and the army command would notice that I'm going every day, and at a certain point they decided that from now on I can instruct the volunteers and manage them to do what they have told me to do.
How to dig defensive positions.
And of course I was a little bit scared of that, because I didn't came there to lead or to rule. I thought that I will just take instruments, dig soil morning till night, and then I will be back to Kyiv, take the night, and it will continue. But in the end, it worked perfectly. I'm still amazed with those men who were every day different, and none of them started rebelling, defending their ego, or telling that they know better what to do, or that I don't have a place in the service. No one of them told that.
No.
And we were digging regular trenches. We were digging trenches that are called blindage, which is supposed to take casualties inside. And we were putting woods on the roof. And that is where I met Andre.
Andre West from Instagram. Some people might know. Our German friend.
Yeah, first time ever we met on trenches around Kyiv.
What, like, when you came to battalion, like I heard the story, you made contact to join Hospitalieri. How did that play out? You started. I'm just curious to hear, because we had no training during the Battle of Kyiv. It was like, here's a gun, here's a med pack, there's Bucha, there's Irpin, and people would just come and go. It was madness. But when you came, we started to have more structure.
Yeah, actually, I have a very confused feeling about that. From one side, I'm very sorry for that I missed that times, and I could have joined just so easily and to go do the meaningful work, but I didn't. And from another side, hospitalers themselves, they never were like that. So no training, take on medpack, go. They were very serious about preparation and training their soldiers. And
so when you joined battalion,
when I was joining battalion, I was told by people that Yana Zinkevich, our commander, does not longer take any more people out of the street without medical background, and I still didn't have a completed medical background. Shame I didn't know her attitude, and that she was, and that of course she would take me with my not finished background. But I made myself to go through everything I could, like all the available trainings from all the instructors I could find in Kyiv and in field medicine and tactical, and it was all not always nice experience, because a lot of people always want to be instructors and to teach, but not all of them are completely aware of how it is by trainees' eyes.
Of course. So what training did you engage in when you came to battalion before your first rotation? How long did you have to wait for your rotation? You met Dima. Dima and I did our first 2 rotations together. Dima Doc from Kharkiv.
She's absolute sweetheart.
Yeah.
Anyways, when I joined the battalion, I went through 5 days training. It was not really the best training that hospitalers mean to have and used to have, and they do now. But we still were trained every day, and it was like march protocol, every stage, every ladder, one day. We would even train to intubate on mannequins, but we would not go to the field, unfortunately. And one day was screwed up. Like, I will not say screwed up, but it was all the day for funeral. So it was second or third day, me in the battalion, when I had to go to funeral instead of training, and it was a little bit touching, because she was dead, cold, and not moving, of course, and it was like, look where all you end up, and it's inevitable, we are all in line to die. But it was my second or third day of the battalion.
How long did you wait till you got your first rotation?
It is a long story. I had to wait for 20 days because of my unjustified principles that were set in my mind from post-Soviet culture, that I can never reach commander and I can never talk to commander, and that I can only apply for intermediate managers, and if they reject me or if they cannot help me, I'm hopeless. But it turned out completely different.
And Dima was a big supporter of you.
So I was one day put to live in a room with Dima, and he got to know my story, that I'm waiting for rotation but not being dispatched, just because Yana was very busy. And he said, why won't you just call her? And I couldn't even imagine calling battalion commander, who is parliament deputy. But finally he said, Nika, either you right now take your phone and call her, or that means that you don't want to be in battalion, you don't want to go for rotation. So I took her number from him, I called him right from that room with him, and she said, like, her reaction was, I'm sorry, honey, I'm now on a parliament meeting, but we will see tonight and we will go tomorrow.
Beautiful. Now, when I met you, you were on your third rotation in Soledad. Your first one, your first two rotations were in Zaporizhia front, yes?
Yeah.
And you've worked with recon. You've worked with. Just tell me about those experiences. Quickly.
Unfortunately, I can't tell a lot about units because I know they're still there.
Of course.
But unfortunately, I didn't have the best experience with communication with Army Command, and unfortunately, sometimes they would not really understand how important is it for soldiers, for those wounded. So we would stay with a ready ambulance to go and ready case evac vehicle to go, but just because they are not understanding of medicine value, we would not get communication, and they would carry their casualties by a Soviet Volga. And that was very sad.
When you came to Soledad, it's no secret to the world, 93rd Brigade is probably bearing one of the highest costs of this war. And they're absolutely amazing people. I remember meeting you in Soledad for the first time. Tell me a little bit about that rotation, because you got to do good work, but everything went wrong on that rotation, like mechanically and logistically.
So
what was Soledad like?
I was, after my second rotation, I met commander. Yeah, I was more dareish to meet her, and I told her that unfortunately I am no longer up to go to that direction again, and that I want a brigade that will communicate and a place where my hands will be medically needed. So I got to know that I am going that direction 2 days before I actually went there. Didn't have that much time to prepare, but it turned out that the brigade soldiers command was way higher than my expectations due to previous experience. And I have actually worked with their casualties a lot, like not really a lot, but compared to previous rotations a lot. And it was always, they were happy to see me there. They were always up to do what I asked them to do. And the command was always up to communicate, to discuss, and to set up points to provide communication. And what was other question?
No, that's all I like, because you are very emotionally invested with the welfare and the well-being of 93rd Brigade, the whole army, but emotionally for you, the Soledar Bakhmut direction is very, as it is, it's very dear to my heart. Yeah, I don't know Kherson. I do not know Kherson. I know Donbass.
I really feel attached to that because it was my first real experience, and also because of I know a lot of positions, situation, soldiers, and I know what is going where. Like I spent with the radio 2 weeks, day to night, and I have heard everything going on. I know what is the quantity of casualties. I know what is quantity of dead people, wounded people, and it is always like a piece of my heart will always be for them.
Of course it will. When I came to meet you the first time, I can't remember if it was with Dimitri or Philip.
Dimitri.
It was with Dima, codenamed Chari. No, the thing was, I knew Dan from America, and you guys were on your team, but you had nothing but problems. The Pajero you had, that was from my first fundraiser when I bought 2 of them, and that truck had seen a lot of action through the summer, and it was a good truck. But by the time you got it, it's like this started to break, this started to break, this started to break. Like when you got a flat tire in the river and you were shelled, that was kind of the beginning of everything started going wrong.
Yeah, like I always say that I don't believe in bad luck. I believe in bad preparation. So I have no one to blame. Dan, situation, river, whatever. It was bad preparation. I don't blame anyone, but in our vehicle, we didn't have tow strap. We didn't have a good car jack. We were not sure that our tire changing kit fits the bolts.
Yes.
It was all about preparation. I personally did not make sure that I'm completely, almost by my heart, aware of what are the routes to the not checkpoints, but CCP, casualty collection points.
Yes.
I was very naive, thinking that my role as a medic and a driver will worry about that. So I had to pay a big price on that. We went wrong road, we were stuck in the river while 2 casualties were dying right after this river, and I could not take them anyhow out. And if there were not, if there wasn't another medical crew working that direction, there would be 2 deaths on my heart.
But there wasn't. You kind of, like, we started working together by accident. I remember through the civil administration, I was kind of betrayed by an American who claims to be best of the best, ex-special forces. He says, I need to train civilians in tactical medicine. And when I arranged that, he basically blanked me and ghosted me because he had better opportunities to make more money. But you saved the day. And when you finished that rotation, you came back to Donbass with me to teach a course. And you did very well. No, you did. But the nature of what I do in battalion, as I've now learned, there are other independent actors who take on different roles, but it's not like a rotation. We will go to Soledad direction, Avdiivka direction for 1 month, 6 weeks. We will support this. It's not like that. It's finding problems to solve, and a lot of people can't do that. You came, you taught the course. As a result, we have very good relations with civil administration of at least 5 towns, 6 towns. Your work is very much appreciated. But when I met Philip, that was the first time I ever worked with civilians. And that is very different. And, just if I dare say, and if I pissed you off too, don't hold back. But we've known each other and worked with each other for the better part off and on for 6 weeks now, either back in Kyiv or back in Donbass. What was that like?
Working with you?
Yeah, working with me. The whole because it's completely different than rotation.
Yeah, like it has a lot of aspects to answer. If we take the activities that they are not rotation, it has always pros and cons. Like pros are that you always happen to meet different army people from all the area, different contacts, and every time when you do something for them and they are thankful to you, it is 1+ warm memory to your heart. And now I have such contacts in my phone that I would never have if I was there just on rotation. And like I was really a little bit anxious to teach a course to administration, but when I've done, I'm no longer scared. And also considering working with you, it was a very big contrast actually than some other people, because you learn to not to expect anything from people, because if you do, then it leads to resentments, anger, fears, if the person does not meet your expectations. But you did everything you could that everything works.
Yeah. Tell me, like, because although we don't have, like, on rotation sometimes doing Kazarak, you can be in really, really hot stuff, but you can have quiet. But seldom a day goes by that we don't get shot at least. and we travel around to different areas. Mentally, for me, it's very difficult to think about, okay, there's a sniper working the opposite side of the building and we're trying to get civilians out. The army is, what the army does makes sense. We are going to get casualties. The army wants to work with us, wants to help us. We are a team. But when you work with civilians, these are not the most rational people. What do you feel like? How is that for you when you deal with babushka or chicken lady in Bakhmut? Like,
so it is very different. I always say that it is a little bit awkward for me to say, but working with wounded soldiers is best ever that happened in my life, because A, they are always ready to go, B, no bags, C, they are always happy to see me there. And not like that civilian lady that I asked her the road for evacuation, for very important evacuation, and she was like, no, I decided that you are not going to evacuate anybody because I'm Russian and I don't want you to go there. And
yeah.
And also civilians have very different mentality, of course. And
it's a hell of a contrast, isn't it?
yeah, quite.
No, see, you're gonna go on a rotation today. He stays anonymous on social media, but from Sweden, Okan Soledad. And we came together to Ukraine in early March with all the Swedes, and him and I are the only ones left. But I was really sad when you want to go back on rotation, because A, I love working with you. It's been a challenge to me too, because we come from very different generations and mentalities. But I don't think that's so much a generation thing. That's what one chooses. But I've never doubted you.
Thank you.
I've never doubted you. And very few times have you and me had conflict, but most people can do it, but some people can't. When they have conflict in war, that was 5 minutes ago. That doesn't matter. And we've done amazing work together, I think. But I'm really glad who you're going to work with. This Swedish medic, in my opinion, is one of the greatest professionals we have in this war. So, and I can't, if I had one wish for you in this war, that you would work with, you are a consummate professional, that you would work with someone like that, and that you further develop your skills. And I think you can teach them some things too. You're my friend.
You too.
And I love you with all my heart, and I want nothing but the best for you.
So do I.
And I'm very happy that your rotation you're going on. You're going to be in Donbass, and I know where you're going to be, and we'll be seeing each other on a regular basis. It's been a real pleasure, and it's easy to see why you are battalion commander, why you are Yana Zinkovic's favorite.
I'm not her favorite.
You are one of her favorites. You're in her top 5.
No, I'm not her favorite and not in her top 5, but I love her, and she always loves me as everybody else.
Yeah. I just like I this is your interview, but I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been now to get my work little by little since my injury. My work has become legitimized by battalion, to get all the support medically, with ammunition, with authority, and to work with you with a logical mind, as opposed to well.
I think my medics will now be furious with me delaying stuff, because it's always me.
It's always Nika.
It's always me complaining that they're delaying, and now it will be
I just want to thank you. So next week we'll see each other again.
Hopefully you will bring me some splints and junctional tourniquets.
Yeah. I'll get you some more junctional tourniquets. So let's get back to work. Thanks, Nika.
Thank you so much.